Hey everybody, welcome. I'm going to sneak right behind you here. I think. There we go. That'll work. How are you doing? You guys got the back row. Perfect. All right. Thanks for your patience. That's been a full day. What commonly happens with thyroid workshops is like energy's a little low, so you can borrow some of mine if you need some. If that's all right. Okay, so we get going through this. How you guys doing? Good. Yeah? Decided to learn something cool? Yeah. My goal today is literally to blow your mind with what's possible in healing. Okay? So you're like, okay, yeah, right. Buckle up because we're having some fun. These are stories we get to be a part of. My body isn't fighting me back, so I can do the things I love to do. Who's felt like their body's been fighting them? Right? Like, just come on, body, let's go. Yeah. So there's hope. All right. My family. Before we get into that real quickly, my voice gets tight from time to time and I haven't used it all day long. So if you need me to repeat something, let me know. I just want to give you the information today. Is that okay with you guys? All right. So my amazing wife, Emily, let's be honest, she keeps the whole show running. Right. I'm not going to pretend anything other than that. We're 6 amazing kiddos and a beautiful life. So that's what keeps me busy when I'm not in here. So, my goal today is to show you ways to heal 50 to 100% improvement, even when other systems have failed. Who's thinking, yeah, right? Be honest. You can raise your hand, that's okay. Thank you. Yeah, thanks for your honesty, right? If we can't be honest, then we got nothing. So that's, yeah, like hang in there. I want to show you what's possible with this. Tons of people are dealing with thyroid problems, over 20 million. Just in the U.S. And there's a huge reason for it, right, Kay? Yeah. And the thing is, at least a third of people dealing with thyroid problems don't even know they have one. And they go, oh, you're depressed, here's your antidepressant, or whatever. Like, there's all kinds of other reasons for this. But, or they just don't go get checked out and see what's possible. So it's well underreported is the point. Traditional treatment options, what did they give you? So who's been diagnosed so far? Who knows they have a thyroid problem? Most of you. Some of you are learning for somebody else or just getting information. That helps me kind of tailor this for what we're working on today. Awesome. So for those of you that are dealing with thyroid stuff, what sort of options have they given you?
Methimazole, 5 milligrams, and then they're going to do like an ultrasound on my nodules.
Okay.
To see where they are.
Yeah.
That's got my trap results in literally right before I got in here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's more like, so essentially medications, and then, right, so it depends on which end you're on, right? If it's too low, you're going to go one way, if it's too high, it's going the other way for the medication they give you.
Radioactive iodine.
Radioactive iodine, wow.
And then medication.
And then medication. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah. Any other options? That's pretty much it though, right? Yeah. So that's not uncommon. It's prescription drugs, radiation, and then surgery is usually the track that goes down. Okay, and this really hasn't changed since the 70s. Thankfully, in the 70s, they were able to find what we know is Thyroid for the low-functioning ones, right? And then those actually supported a lot of people, right? That did a lot of good, but it didn't solve anything. It just supported. And a lot of people are kind of sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's like, I'm on the medication, I still feel like junk. Right?
Generic.
Well, right.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of different factors within that world. But generally speaking, they're trying to add a hormone back or reduce the inflammation and so on through various medication means. Right? And it's not all bad, but it's incomplete for what we typically see. Right, so let's shed a little more light on that. But bottom line is they're doing symptom management. And you're kind of tired of symptom management. Is that why you're here? So let's talk about what can be different here. I'm not going to stand here and try to mansplain to you what mood swings are like and all these things, right? But brain fog is real, right? Like seriously. And what I've seen, because honestly, I've dealt with my own thyroid challenges as well. And you don't even want to show up. You just stop living. You're like, I want to phone in today and tomorrow and the next day, right? And you can't because people depend on you. And then you feel like a jerk or worse because, right? So there's this whole mental head game that gets in there too, doesn't it? Yeah. So have you ever wondered what it's like to not have that anymore? Some of you, it's been too long and you're like, is that even possible? And that's a healthy dose of skepticism, right? It's like, I don't know. So what's a better way? I never really wanted to be a thyroid expert. Anybody else learn through those school of hard knocks? Yeah, so that's been my story. Like I mentioned, I had my own challenges with thyroid as well. My wife has a family history of it. Her dad actually has autoimmune thyroid, which is fairly rare for guys to get it. But so she's had thyroid challenges in her family for a long time. My mom and my sister have hyperthyroid or overactive. I watched my sister go through several eye surgeries because her eyelids weren't able to cover her eyes anymore. And she's on the medication and like all the things you're doing, like there's got to be another way to do this. And so, unfortunately, all that time passed before I was able to figure some things out. But here we are today. You know, we can share that information with you. So that's been my pain grinder, right? Has really turned into some different discoveries and options and systems that really do amazing things. So hang in there. We're going to show you what those are. I've been to I don't know how many seminars now, and they ask me to speak from time to time on the topics. That's been my background with this. This is 21 years of practice for me now, and we're still rolling. So I want to give you a new lens to look through today, if that's okay. You've been taught, by and large, that your physiology, right, your lab values, how your body's running, that's the goal. We're trying to fix that, or improve that, or make sense? That's sort of the top of the pyramid. And the way they're doing that is through chemistry. That's your medications and even diet and supplements and whatever. You're with me so far? Yes. And again, that's not wrong, but it's incomplete because what runs the chemistry in the body? It's right there on the screen for you. It's in physics. And so what does that mean? It's not the scary class in high school or whatever. It's literally light energy we get from the sun, and that plants use to make all kinds of good things with. What do we use light energy for? It turns into vitamin what?
D.
Vitamin D, right? This is becoming common knowledge now that sunlight actually makes our bodies do stuff, not just burn skin and whatever, right? So it changes our wake sleep cycles. If you ever travel, you got the jet lag thing, right? So like that's part of that. So that's light physics. And then we have electricity. The nerve system is largely electrical, right? And then magnetism, the Earth's electromagnetic fields, the solar flares, magnetic pull of the moon, like all these things change, right? Tides, like you get the idea. So these are the basic things that are in our world that actually change the ability of your body to make energy and use the chemistry that's going on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So if we're not asking these deeper questions, we get kind of surface level answers. Does that make sense? So that's where we're going. We're explaining a little bit more about the physics and how we can leverage that in a way so that your chemistry runs better and then everything else gets healthier above that. Sounds a little too simple, right? This is as nerdy as we're going to get today, okay? But here's a bunch of you to understand the big picture. How your body makes energy is key. Because right now, if your thyroid sucks, right, you're not making enough energy, whether it's too high or too low. So here's how that works. You take oxygen when you're breathing, and you burn that one oxygen molecule, and you get 34 to 38, actually it's a little higher than that, 32, 34 energy molecules back. So one oxygen molecule turns into 32, 38, like who doesn't want that trade? All day long. When that system breaks down, there's about 6 different reasons why that can break down. When that starts to break down, you're going to burn sugar and you're going to get 2 energy instead. Would you rather run on 32 or 2? Right? If you want 32 miles a gallon or 2 miles a gallon, you get the idea, right? It's literally that kind of thing. So when this is happening, let's say you're running over here and that cell is running on 2 instead of 32. Now you need to make more cells to make that thing work better. In other words, to get the same energy, you're going to need more cells to accomplish that. You with me? So what do we call that? Tissue enlargement. Thyroid, enlarged thyroid. Nodules, like you name it, the tissue literally has to grow. And if it's in the liver, we call it a fatty liver disease, or we call it a hepatomegaly or cardiomegaly. If it's the heart, like there's terms in medicine for this. The tissue actually enlarges so it can deal with the energetic and literally the energy demand on the tissue. Make sense? Okay, so we want to run here. If things are broken, you're going to run here. Okay, so how do we get over there? This is the main question. So think of it like a battery. Every cell in your body is a battery. There's a charge on it. You know this when you shuffle your feet on the carpet, you shock right? You can conduct electricity in the body. So every cell is a battery, and it holds a charge. If you have full charge in your battery, you can fix whatever you need to. If you start losing power in the battery, you got to pick and choose. So imagine your cell phone. When it loses enough power, you run too many apps. Abby, what do you got to do? You charge it, right? Or you got to shut down apps. One of the two. You can't keep running them all. Does that make sense? So that's the same thing here. The body still needs to make more energy, right? It's making new cells all the time to replace and repair the old ones. But if you don't have enough energy, you're going to lose quality control. And then when that breaks down, we go into autoimmune. And then when that breaks down, we get into cancer. There's literally no cell in the body that can develop cancer if it has enough charge in the cell. Let me say that again. It's in the research. Go look it up. There's no cell on the planet that can develop cancer when it's charged up enough. This is physics. Who's having their world shaken up a little bit? Different lens to look through for healthcare. Yeah. So, we want to get toward this side, right? Simply put. And here's one of the big questions that kind of led me down this whole path of thinking. Who do you know, or have you ever heard of anybody that's gotten a heart cancer?
Did you say a heart?
Heart. Cancer of the heart. Anybody? Right? It's like, if it exists, it's super rare, and it's probably not primary. Why doesn't anybody get heart cancer?
Because it's always working. It's always pumping blood.
It's always pumping blood. It's always working, right? Never gets a day off. Thankfully. If your heart dropped below this in energy, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, we're going to be
Just a part.
death. So that's cell death. We're going to be body death.
Yeah, right. When the heart stops, it's a bad day, right? Is that fair? So, yeah, right? So if the heart loses enough energy, then it literally will never get to the point where you're going to develop cancer in that tissue because it's already too tired out. Cancer is your body's last-ditch effort to make more energy. It's the Hail Mary pass. It's not trying to kill you. Cancer is not trying to kill you. It's trying to make more energy for your system. What's going to kill you quicker? Liver cancer or liver failure?
Liver failure.
Failure, right? It's done. Kidney cancer, kidney failure. You get the idea, right? Heart failure gets you before you would ever develop heart cancer. Okay, so that's a giant concept. If you learn nothing else today, that's the physics. That's the healthcare of physics. Does that answer more questions you've maybe gotten, or what I'm trying to say there? Have we given you more answers to your questions than maybe you've gotten elsewhere so far? This is why healthcare in our country is where it is. Because very few people are playing on this level. Yet. Right? So, again, we're not talking about cancer, I want you to conceptually get the idea. If my thyroid's tired out, I might autoimmune, we're already starting with a really low battery drain. Okay, just that concept is what's important on that one. So, here's what happens. If I play these, we usually go like an hour and a half. I don't want to get to the good stuff, so I'll just tell you briefly. Laura, she came in, her autoimmune numbers were literally over 1,000. Okay? And within a few months, we were able to get her down to over 100, like 140s, 150s, something like that, which is still high. But when you go from 1,000 down to 150, like that's a major leap. Her TSH, for those of you that are aware of that, that's the brain signaling to the thyroid. That was in the 40s. Okay? Now, here's the thing with TSH. If every number is let's say a 1, a TSH was 1 hormone. A TSH of 2 would be 10 hormones. A TSH of 3 would be 100 hormones. TSH of 4 would be 1,000. It's a logarithmic. You with me? So to go from 40 down to 16 is a massive shift. It is still too low functioning, yes, but those are the changes we're able to make with her. And she's like, literally, I'm going to cry because my labs are, miraculously, drastically different. So that's more, without going into all, she goes way into the numbers, and that loses some people. So I'm just on the brief side of it there. Nancy, just that. I feel absolutely better. Just kind of like sums it up. Here's what I want to show you today. I want you to understand the root cause. Like what causes them. We kind of covered some of the physics, but let's dial it in specifically to thyroid. I want to show you our winning 3-pronged approach. Like how do we get amazing results? And then hopefully you're getting some hope for your own healing back. Like, wait a minute, this is a different way to think. This is different solutions are possible. All right? And then show you what next steps could look like. Is that fair? That's where we're going. So, root cause. And secret number 1 is stress. Here's the big picture, right? So, your brain has a structure called hypothalamus. And the brain then releases a hormone to the pituitary, which is also in the brain structure. And the pituitary then talks to the thyroid. And that's the TSH. And that's typically all they measure in your labs. Or, 90% of the time they might measure T3, T4, maybe some antibodies if they already know you've got that going on. But that's about it. And so the thyroid then makes hormone. It makes primarily T4. And that's the inactive hormone. And then its job is to pump that hormone to the entire body. Every cell in your body needs some thyroid hormone. That's like the key in the ignition to turn on the motor, if you will. Okay? So then when you've got the inactive hormone, let's say that's working right, then that hormone needs to be converted into its activated form. It needs to be useful. And then that's converted in the liver, the guts, the skin. Those are the 3 dominant ones where you actually convert the hormone and make it useful. Okay? So what I want you to notice is here are all the areas where we can have problems. You can have signaling disruptions, you can have nutritional deficits, you can have conversion of the hormone, right? These are all areas where the thyroid can break down and the signaling can break down. Does that make sense? So everywhere you see an X, that's where a problem can exist. It will actually interfere with the way your thyroid functions and your body makes energy. So I want you to notice, this is where stress, maybe, there we go. All these little red circles here, all these areas are where stress will mess with, oops, those pathways. So you can see in like almost every single area, stress is getting impacted. And the big picture here is you can't be in a state of crisis and healing at the same time. If you're freaking out, right, if you're running away from the lion or the tiger, are you going to worry about your broken leg? You're just going to survive, right? Same idea. If your house is on fire, you're not going to be moving your furniture around. It's like it's survival time. So if the body's in a state of survival or crisis, you're not in a healing mode. And so we got to make sure the body's in that state where it's going to break down most of your ability to work with thyroid hormone. Does that make sense? Big picture, stress will mess you up, right? Like everybody knows this. But here's how we start to work on that. There it goes. So this is where everyone wants to hang out. Social engagement. Let's go have fun. Let's go have, enjoy company together and socialize and have our community and all of that, right? All those relationships are really meaningful. And then it's like the gopher, right? It's like pops his head up out of the thing, is looking around, is there danger here? And then kind of goes back down, and right? So that's what this is here. That's an up and down alert feeling. Like, when you're driving, it's like, is it safe to, all those things, which just goes in our background of our mind all the time. And more for women, I would say, than guys in our culture. You get in an elevator and there's a guy in there, you're like, right? It's a different experience than for me. But it's that alertness. And then it goes down, and no big deal. When that goes too much, you get into fight, flight, right? You're either going to run and fight it, or you're going to lean away and back away. Or if it gets too severe, you're going to go into play dead. Survive. And you don't get to pick. It just happens. And if you start living there, helplessness, conservation of energy, depression, numbness, dissociation. Does that sound familiar to anybody? You kind of been there before? You might be there now. And then you feel bad about it. Shame. What's wrong with me? Shut down. Hopelessness. Despair. Right? That's dorsal vagal freeze. This is not healing mode. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah. So how do we get out of that? We have a lot of techniques that are able to support that. Technology that can support that. Physics that can support that. But I'm going to show you a simple one you can start doing now at home that has been researched actually just down in Philadelphia. They did a study, and no other mind body work has been studied to this degree. They have pre and post brain MRIs that prove that it works, which is unbelievable. And it's really fascinating to see. I'm not going to go over the research. If you want to learn more, you can find out at onefoundation.org and read all about it.
Did you say one?
One.
One, O-N-E, onefoundation.org. But let me just show you how to do this. Because at the end of the day, I want you to walk out of here with tools, okay? And actually better than when you came in. So, I want you to think of something in your world where your stress level is maybe like a 5. Okay, out of 10. I don't want you going to whatever the crazy is. We don't want, kind of in this context, keep it around a 4 or 5 stress. Is that fair? So think of something in your world that would be that kind of that level of stress. Everybody have something like that in mind? Lori's having a hard time finding one. That's great. Whatever. But yeah, so think of that and just notice what your body does when you think about it. Right? My shoulders get a little more tense. I want to do this instead of this. Start noticing what your body wants to do. My calves feel a little tighter. Right? Notice my heart rate's up a little bit. Yeah, right? And so all these are physiological responses to that, whatever that represents to you. Okay? So now here's how we start to change the physiology. on your wrist, there are buttons right by the thumb. And so I always put one hand on the other one, and you loop the, yeah, just like that, Bonnie. Perfect. Yep, right there, right on the radial pulse. Yep, that goes just, yep, there you go. Let them right up. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe slightly that way. Yep, you got it. That works good. Yeah, yep, just like that. You guys got it. Perfect already. Awesome. What? Yeah, right here. Yeah. There's one. Yeah, right there, and there. Perfect, Abby. Yeah, just like that. And then what you do is, in the bottom corner, you're just going to put your hand on your forehead. Right? So this is the I'm choking. Everybody knows that one. And this is the I'm stressed out of my mind. Right? So we do this instinctively. But when you link up the buttons on the wrist, it connects to the other organ systems in the body, which deal with stress. So you're going to think of that in 5 levels of stress. And I want you to just kind of allow yourself to feel that for a second. What's that like?
Heart rate's going down.
It's starting to calm down for you. Awesome.
A lot calmer in general.
Yeah. Perfect. And when that one feels like that's resolved enough for you, you can trade hands and do the other side. And thinking about the same topic, or the same scenario. There's different organs represented on the different wrists. Yeah. Sometimes you might feel a little lightheaded. That's common as well. It's like a little more lighter. So that's really simple. You can teach a 3-year-old how to do this. So I've spent I don't know how many hours, and literally over 6 figures. It's in your handout.
Okay.
You may absolutely, but it's in there for you. Yeah. So I'm giving this to you for free. Please use it. Okay, like seriously, this works. And I've invested a lot to be able to bring that to you guys. So it seems super simple, but I'm telling you right now, the research is there that proves this works. So like, use it. That's going to start to get you out of that fight, like freezing, like hopelessness, despair. If you can focus on the actual feeling of it, and then treat it, you're gonna get even better results. But just to kind of give you an idea in the
Question.
Yeah.
So like, for me, where it seems a little challenged this way, can you do it this way?
You can't do it that way. There's no wrong way. Just for me, that bumps me in the face. So typically that was a little easier, but you absolutely can do it the other way.
Okay.
Yeah, great question. Yeah. Any other questions on this? Like how to?
That's in something where.
That should be in your book. If not,
I saw it before.
If not,
Oh, it's in the book.
It's in the bag. Okay, so you have to.
I was like, I know I read it.
Good. Okay, yeah, it's in the bag.
I was like, I know I
Yeah.
read it.
And if for whatever reason you're missing one, just let us know. We'll get you the link to the video. So that's really powerful. Again, why would we do this? You can't be in crisis and what? Healing at the same time. And if your brain is stressed out, remember, it shuts down most of those areas where your thyroid actually works. Okay, that's a big deal. The other one, same thing, read through it. The first one we showed you here, this is called First Aid Stress Tool. This one is kind of a reactive, if you will. It's like when you know you're stressed and you're feeling the stress and emotion, this will help to calm it down. And then the next one here is going to be more proactive, where you're focusing on gratitude in the heart, a feeling of appreciation, a memory of joy. When you're just flooded with that feeling, you know what I mean? And so like that positive, and again, that should be in the bag.
It's in the bag. No, it's
Yeah, it's not in the bag, we'll get you one. Don't sweat it, we'll get it for you, I promise. But it's super simple too. Again, for me, I'll put my soft fist where my heart's about, your heart's about the size of your fist. So I'll put it there, just kind of feel my heart beating. And for me, it's remember when my wife was coming down the aisle and we're getting married, like that's joy, right? So I think of that, and I just hold that in my heart. and just picture my heart pumping that feeling through my entire body. Until you're just soaked with gratitude and joy and like, yeah. So hopefully there's a memory like that you can experience or re-experience. And then the key is then focusing your heart, your mind's eye on your heart, and just feel that heart pumping it through your entire body. And sit there as long as you're able to. You can do this stuff at a red light, right? Like this, you don't need to.
That's what I'm.
It's like any time during the day, you can pop these things in and start to regulate your own nervous system better. Okay, is that helpful? Yeah. So this is giant. Like if we do nothing else today, that's a big win. All right, but this is just getting started. All right, so hang in there. So that's that. When we start doing this, Heidi had really bad anxiety. And now she doesn't. It's just to help her reset her brain, and those pathways are better, and it's just, she's a different woman. It's amazing. So that's Heidi's story. Secret number 2 then is reducing inflammation. Okay, who's heard that inflammation is like really bad? Right? Yeah. Chronic inflammation will mess with everything. And so that's number 2 then is how to get rid of that. What triggers that? So number 1 is what? Stress. That's why we started there, okay? Number 2 then is going to be pathogens, chronic infections. We're number 1 in the world for tick-borne illnesses in Pennsylvania. Lyme disease, Bartonella, all that kind of stuff, Babesia. So that can mess with all kinds of things. Junk food, right? It kind of is this next section. And then other medications can mess with that too, depending on what those are. Heavy metals, another major one, right? So just walk with me on this one. If you got mercury over here, and you've got all these OSHA regulations and safety protocols, and then you put it in somebody's mouth, and then that's fine. And then you need to change your filling out. And so now they take it out, and now all of a sudden it's toxic again. And you got to make sure you have all the OSHA rules and regulations again. Something's not adding up there. Right? So that's all I'm going to say about that. But here's what I do know is that mercury and thyroid do not get along. Okay, mercury will wreck your thyroid. Mercury will wreck your thyroid.
So do you suggest getting those fillings out?
Depends.
My dad
Honestly, it
said
depends.
I would leave them unless,
Right.
because he said taking it out.
Yeah, and if you have had them out, most of the time there's still mercury poisoning in the nerve system. It may not be in the teeth anymore, but it kind of got lodged in the brain. Really common. And where's most of your thyroid control come from? The brain. Yeah. So metals are a big deal. And then dehydration. Again, your lymphatic fluid is fluid, right? You need water and movement to make that go. And so if you don't have enough for the right hydration, you're in trouble on that. Half your body weight in ounces of good, like spring water is ideal. Probably a simple way just to kind of, that could be a whole other workshop with water, but that's a big one. All right, so that's what triggers inflammation. And then inflammation, watch again, will mess up this one, and this one, and this one, and this one, and this one. So it wrecks your thyroid, okay? And then when we get rid of inflammation, we see all kinds of cool stuff happen. Isabel, a lovely French lady, she came in with all kinds of problems, really. She had on her paperwork, she said, if nothing is different, I'm going to be dead in 1 to 3 years. But she's like, literally, I'm done. I need a complete change. And so she was, type 2 diabetes, thyroid, I mean, you name it. It was basically on the list. What does that mean? From a battery standpoint,
They were dying.
she was right. Her battery was super drained. So we had to find out what's draining the battery and then how do we recharge it. So to do that, we started to, pull poisons out of her lifestyle, get it out of her body, help her recharge her body with light therapy, which you're going to see here in a minute. And we did some other therapies to support so that she could get energy back into her body, that she could naturally then get rid of the junk and increase energy. This picture is 70 pounds lighter. This picture no longer has type 2 diabetes. Her thyroid regulated. Okay? She came in and gave me a bill. And she's like, Isabel, you're doing amazing. What's going on? And she said, Doc, none of my clothes fit anymore. Not even my underwear. I need to get a completely new wardrobe.
Well,
And
bring
so-
it on.
Right? Yeah. So I'm like,
I'm open to that.
yeah. And so, so that was her French sense of humor. You got a really good laugh about it. But that's Isabel. And then number 3 is healing at the speed of light. Okay, I want to show you what's possible now with thyroid function and how we can actually use the physics to make changes and show you right now. Okay, so to do that, we need some volunteers. But we can't pick everybody today. Is there somebody that's like, yeah, I don't want you, it doesn't hurt. You're basically going to get vibration, real gentle, and light therapy. Okay, anybody not want that? Okay, cool. Just making sure. Some people are like, yeah, no thanks. I was like, I'm out. Totally fine, no big deal. So then let's do this. How many of you are like energy level, scale of 1 to 10? You're like at a 5 or lower right now. Okay, so Abby, you got to put your hand down. You don't want treated. No, seriously, hands up again. Who's at 5 or lower right now? So more than half of you. Wow. Okay. Who's at like a 2 or a 3? It's okay. Like this is just honest.
I feel like I'm gonna fall asleep in my chair.
Well, yeah. Well, sit in your chair.
Fine.
That's fair.
Yeah.
How long have you had thyroid challenges for?
This is all.
Oh, brand new.
This is all brand new.
Don't know yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just know that, I know in my spirit something's not right.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Because we don't know for certain what's driving that, I'm gonna have to pause on
No worries.
for that one. But anybody else that's close to falling asleep in their chair that knows they have thyroid problems?
That's
Okay.
what I was telling you earlier out there. I'm so
When
tired of it.
So let's do this. Here's how we solve this one. Do you remember rock, paper, scissors? Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna play a little bit. And Jalissa and Janelle. Awesome. So let's do rock, paper, scissors. You ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay. Scissor beats paper. Oh man. Come on. So energy level, Janelle.
So a lot of times, my energy, there's a lot of like depression kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'll have those bouts of burst of energy. I'm like, ooh, yeah. And then it's like tanking and just trying to regulate. I'm like, a lot of like stuff. I'm like, there's only so much you can push to go forward. Like, what am I missing? What's the disconnect? And I found a women's guide to like over 40, on social media. And there's different people talking about thyroids in the
Yes.
comments and like, hey, this is what you should check out with your doctor or look into this more. And I was like, so when I saw that, I was like, oh, I don't know what's here, but let's figure it out.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for being here. Let's give a round of applause for. I think after high school, we get clapped for maybe 4 or 5 times in our life, so we like to. All right, so here's what's gonna happen. There it is. I wrote down my list of things we're gonna check. Okay, so I can. Right. So we're gonna do a screening here for Janelle and see what her body's doing and showing us, and then we'll do the treatment and then we'll recheck it. Fair? That's what we're gonna show you. So let's have you stand over here for me. And then, so we're gonna check with range of motion. But before we do, like an energy level right now, the scale of 1 to 10, where do you say you're at now?
So I'm about like 4 or 5.
4 or 5. Okay. This is your own subjective 4 or 5, running a half tank or a little less. Got it. So the range of motion, we're going to check that first because it's kind of simple to look at in this context. And I'll explain why that's even important for a thyroid. You can relax your shoulders for me here. I'm just going to do a gentle motion and see how we can move them on. Okay, let that relax here for me. Nice and heavy. Any shoulder bumps I should know about?
Yes.
Okay, so that might be a challenge too, right? That's okay. So we'll go nice and easy.
Yep.
And you just let me know if there's any issues or challenges there. Right there, it kind of stops.
Yep.
Are you wincing? Wincing it? No, I don't want to make her wince,
She's
but
faking it.
she's thinking about wincing. Let this one relax here, nice and soft. Let me do the work. So that one moves okay. Way better than the right one. Okay, so one reason we check that is the teres minor muscle relates to thyroid. Okay, and that's a rotator cuff muscle. So if you bend the elbow here, bring this out. Yeah, it lives on the back over here. I'm gonna push the wrist in. The job of that muscle is to do it out. So when you reach back for the seatbelt, it's that muscle. Okay, push back in my hand here. And so hers is inhibited. Okay. Now, if it's just one side, it might be a shoulder problem. If it's both sides, it's usually organ related. It could be two shoulder problems, but bring the wrist back. Yeah, right there. I'm going to push in, don't let me. And so we see that inhibited with both. Okay. So we see that makes more sense for range of motion why there can be, if there's a shoulder weakness, there might be, right. So now we're going to look for, remember when we did the oxygen, maybe it's 32, 34, we're going to check that in the system and see how well it's run. How quickly can she recycle her energy production? How quickly can she make energy? So we're going to test this with what's called repeated muscle activation. We're going to test, you should be able to do 100 tests before the muscle fatigues. At least 100, that'd be a baseline. Okay? So let's see how we do with that one. I'm going to use a different, I'll use the other shoulder since that one is the shoulder problem one.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll just check this one here. Thumb down for me here. We're going to check a shoulder muscle up here. Keep your elbow locked. You're going to push your wrist into my hand. And that's solid. Like that doesn't move anywhere. I'm going to turn the muscle off one time to make sure the neurology works. We're going to shorten it. Now push up in my hand. And that's normal inhibition. Now push again. And it turns right back on. So we switch it off, it turns right back on its own. That's totally normal muscle neurology. Okay, that's what we want to see. Now we're going to see how many can she do? All right, let's find out. All you're going to do is just keep a little pressure up into my hand. Ready? Push up. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 20, 30, 40, 50, 56, and she felt that.
Yeah.
I commonly test that on both sides because of the shoulder problem. I'm going to skip that side of it for her. But we see, that makes sense. She's running 50%, and she's got about 56 contractions before she fails. It's usually really consistent with the energy level they say that they're feeling. Really common to be, right in that neighborhood. Another one, which you can also check on yourself, doesn't always work the same way. It's kind of like if somebody tries to tickle you, it doesn't work the same. But usually under your collarbone, about 3 finger widths down, there's a reflex for the thyroid gland. Okay? So if we get on here, as we're going through, let's just do this one first, back in the back here. Any pain with that at all?
No.
So when you use that same kind of pressure here, we notice it there.
Yeah, definitely.
So can you give me a number on that? 5 is bad, 0 is nothing?
That was like a good strong 3.
Good strong 3. And we'll take the other side, same thing, back here. Nothing? Or what do you feel in the back? Nothing. Right there. Yeah, it's like, right? That's a oucher. So it's same thing, like a 3, strong 3?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got pain, right? We got weakness or lowered energy status, we got weakness, and then we know the histories are with thyroid. You tracking with me so far? And the last one we're going to do is then the hormone team. So remember, brain, hypothalamus, pituitary, thyroid. It also talks to the adrenal glands, liver, guts. We're going to check these different reflexes. So when they tap your knee and it kicks, it's a reflex, right? You don't think about it, it just happens. We're going to use her shoulder muscle to just get a gauge for what her nerve system is doing. It's a window into the brain. And then we're going to just have her touch on these reflexes and see if they're active or not. If the reflex is active and there's more stress on it than the body can deal with, it's going to inhibit and weaken the arm. You with me? Okay, so hold this strong for me here. Good. So hypothalamus is going to be about here. You I'll just do that one since my hand's right there. Push up with my hand. And that one actually weakens. So we go, hypothalamus is a problem. That's top of the stack. Next one's pituitary. So Janelle, take your fingertips and just gently touch on the bridge of your nose with the other. Yeah. Let's kind of like a little pinch right there. You don't have to pinch it, just like that. Hold that up strong for me there. And so she says, my pituitary, something's off with that too. You take that away. The next one is thyroid, right in the notch of the neck right here. Go ahead and touch on that spot for me. Now, push up with my hand. And we see thyroid's also offline. Well, relatively speaking, something's not up to speed. And then we're going to go to the small intestine, which will be right about here. So a hand on the midsection. Again, that's where hormone converts is in the gut. Push up. And we see that's a challenge too. And then we can go to liver, which will be on the right side of the rib cage. Push up there for me. And so she's kind of showing the whole, like everywhere there could be a challenge and is showing a challenge right now.
Now, how did you, I'm sorry, what were you doing that you saw that there was
Yeah. So take your hand away from, yep. Push up on my hand. So that's solid. I can do dips on that. Right? That's a good strong muscle. Touch on the liver over, just flat hand on that right side of the rib cage. Now push up. And that inhibits. It doesn't hold steady. So it's a quick way, right? Isn't that crazy? Yeah. So that's a quick way we can see how is the system running. Is there more stress on it? Is it like, oh, whoa, wait a minute, maybe we need to run labs or assess this at a deeper level? But this gives us a real simple clinical tool that's invaluable. So we go, where is the system breaking down? Does that make sense?
So it's actually converting in the stomach, so that's why digestive is so, it's like converts.
Yes. Yeah, at least 25% of your thyroid hormone converts in the GI. And so if your gut's off or your liver's off, that's why everybody's like, oh, it's gut health. Well, it's very true, but it's also not the whole picture. And let's think about this. If you're trying to absorb medication or diet or nutrition or supplements, and your gut battery is drained, how much are you going to absorb and actually utilize? Right? So we can use physics to change all that. So that's what we're going to show you next. All right? So you got a big picture of what's going on with our system. And, you can have a seat. Dr. Midgley, Dr. Jeff, he likes to go by Dr. Jeff. Actually, we're going to sit right here. Okay? Yeah. Nice comfy chair. There you go. And he's going to be doing the treatment. I'm going to explain what's going on. And the cool thing is this is not doctor dependent. This is the system and the physics that does the job. And we just kind of know where to guide and help direct. But the body's going to do the healing, and we're just going to use the system. Right? That's okay. That's probably the 10th time I dropped it today. Yeah. So what we're going to start using, remember, what were the three physics? Yeah, light, electricity, and magnets. Yeah, so really we're using only one of those in this demo today. We're not using magnets, we're not using electricity. Okay? So with light, we see things like thyroid tissue regenerates. We see reduction in pain. Inflammation calms down. Function improves. Immune response gets better. T3-4 ratio. Why can all this stuff happen? Why would these changes happen when you add light energy?
Because it gives energy.
Exactly. Exactly, Bonnie. It's like, I kind of get the answer. And when you do that, what happens is, remember that the oxygen burns to 32, 34? Light energy always goes directly into that side of the pathway. It bypasses gut battery, absorption, you just get directly, light energy makes piles of ATP. That's your energy molecule.
Light heals.
Okay? Light heals. Okay, yeah, exactly. Like seriously. Right? So we can't get to the beach in Florida all the time. We live in Pennsylvania and it's cloudy. Right? So that actually puts us at a disadvantage. Yeah. So light energy is going to do that. When we use electrons, that's another form, we'll show you in a minute, but that will put energy into that side of the pathway. Big concept is all the layers of physics that we can use will make energy directly the way the body needs it and bypass all the other systems. And we can get targeted with where we put it. So do we need to treat the brain? Do we need to treat the liver? Does that make sense? And the body's going to show us what we need to do to make it better. So we add energy into those systems that are depleted. We couple that with lab work and all the other things we need to look at. And we come with an amazing, cool plan to get things dialed in. So the other thing we're using here is vibration. We talked about lymphatics briefly. And that's the fluid that drains junk. And your thyroid hormone distributes through the lymph to your whole body. And so if the lymph isn't moving, you can't get the hormone to every tissue. So vibration reduces stress, which was our secret number 1. And secret number 2 is it enhances lymphatics to get that fluid circulation going. Does that make sense? So that's why we use vibration. One other big helper is the iron cleanse detox system. That's the stations over here. We have several patients that like to have their own at home, and that's great too. And so it literally, the bigger issue is that it's pumping energy into the body more than it's the color and the dirt that comes out. We want both. I wish there were a cleaner, simpler way to do it because that would be so much easier to treat without having a mess, right? But to be honest, like this does amazing stuff. And so it's a way to get energy in the body for several days at a time and to augment the detox systems so you can take the load off the battery and stop it draining. It changes the pH of the body, it helps with blood sugar, like the list goes on and on and on. Okay? So again, the reason it does all that is because it's increasing energy production in the body. And cool things can happen when you do that. Make sense? And what Janelle's on here is pulse electromagnetic field. So this is the magnet. Right here, what Honey's writing on here. So all of that is, this is a magnet that turns on and off quickly. I would show you what that's like, but last time I did that, I literally killed the battery in my computer. So I'm not going to do that. Remember the battery picture? This takes your battery. It's like when your cell phone's dead and you put it on that induction charger. It literally charges the cell back up. That's what this does. Some of you may have heard of Tony Robbins before.
Yeah.
He's got these in his homes and sleeps on them before he does his presentations and all that. Like, they had to make it extra long one because he's such a tall guy. But yeah, like this is NFL locker rooms. It's all out there for recharging and getting energy back in the body. The other key player is changing the chemistry. If you're eating junk food, we've got to make a change there a lot of times, right? So we've got nutritional protocols that actually work. And then through the way we check, we can also find out what supplements are actually useful in conjunction with lab work and things we would need to look at as well. So that's a key player. And it's more about what you're not eating. A big one's gluten. If you have thyroid problems, lose gluten, lose Roundup.
Yeah, that's a little hard though.
It can be really challenging, to be honest with you, if you really, especially autoimmune thyroid, you need to go gluten-free. I'll just kind of be that straightforward with it. At least initially.
In all those years,
Yeah, right.
But I thought that thyroid problems, issues, disease, whatever you want to label it, is autoimmune. You said there's autoimmune.
Again, so the battery depends on where it's drained, whether you label it autoimmune or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah, basically. So if you have antibody, if your immune system is fighting your thyroid gland, your thyroid might be normal. It's an immune system problem. It's attacking that tissue. Is that too confusing yet?
No, that's what they told me was going on with mine in the beginning.
Yeah.
And why, I had Graves' disease.
Right. Yeah, so that is an autoimmune scenario. And the way that develops is, again, it's the same battery model. When the tissue drains too much, now you've made too many cells, you have to kill them off, and your immune system starts attacking that stuff. And it targets certain tissues in the body. Okay?
Yeah, because they kind of explained it to me by saying that we had found that over time the thyroid burns itself out. I'm like, fine, good, then don't give me that radioactive iodine,
Right.
And we can't do that because we don't know how long it could take, and at the same time, it's also working all of your major organs over time. So something else could go before the thyroid goes. I'm like, oh, okay, bring the poison back on the table then.
Right. But did you hear their language, right?
Yeah.
It's going to burn itself out.
Yeah.
Is that an energy debt model without realizing it's an energy debt model?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, wait
Yeah.
a minute. What if we stopped the drain on the burnout and we recharged it? Then what would happen?
Well, that's not.
But unfortunately, they're not asking that kind of question. So that's where we get to play it differently. I mentioned this one. Soft wave is amazing stuff, really. It was all over Paris. It was all over the Olympics. Soft wave. A lot of people with thyroid challenges have joint problems too. And this helps to repair joint tissue and aches and pains from knees, shoulders, you name it, sprains. So a lot of times with thyroid, you get weaker ligaments, things like that, and so you get more prone to injury.
So how is it possible that you can have both Hashimoto's and Graves' disease active at the same time?
Great question.
She does.
Yeah, great question. Simply put, what's driving both, right? Like what's driving it? And so the thyroid gland can be tired out, or the brain's not sending enough signals, right? So it's a brain-based problem. Then you don't have enough TSH, or I'm sorry, your TSH is way too high, and that's low thyroid. And then your immune system can be punching your thyroid too, and that's the autoimmune. So it's really, I don't want to say two separate, but they're.
She's an oxymoron.
Well, no, this is super common. Emily, it's super common. But what happens is the battery is drained in too many different systems, right? And then it's like, and the body gets all confused on what to do. It just starts doing the best it can with the energy it's got available. And so, does that make a little more sense? In other words, no one's looking at the brain and why that's a problem, but the brain's going to tie into the autoimmune and the low thyroid at the same time. Yeah, those are super common to have together, or you'll do this.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I mean, it was active at the same time 7 years ago, but it's
Yeah.
been like a roller coaster.
Roller coaster. Yeah, right. Who started roller coasters? Yeah, everybody. So, when we do brain fog, my wife had it bad. It was like rough.
Well,
Yeah, my wife had
Are
Yeah.
you sure that just wasn't the 6 children? Though?
Yeah.
You know what?
I'm just
Part of it. No, honestly, but like, right? So, like, and then what happens though? As a mom, everything else goes to the wayside,
Yeah.
and you're caring for everybody else but you.
Yeah.
And let's, like, as a husband, seeing that, going like, wait a minute, no, you're really holding this whole thing together. Let's make sure you're supported well.
Right.
And we did it imperfectly, but we figured a lot of things out in the process, and got to make some cool changes. So, yeah, but that's the thing, and that's my heart too. Is like, if we can support, especially the ladies, that's really what makes our communities, our homes, like, right. So that's our heart, is to really help families and support that way. So, all right, how we do? Are we about ready? How are you doing? Thank you.
Start to collect all the
Seems
lights.
relaxed.
So while you're doing that, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So can you have thyroid issues if your TH3 and TH4 come back normal?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because I've been swearing. I gave birth to her because this anomaly, the doctor, she was at 14 diagnosed, she had it 2 years already. And they're like, how does nobody have it? I was like, I must have it. I know I have it. They're like, nope, you're fine.
Yeah.
There's nobody else. So like, I know I have it, but the blood test.
Right.
They're like, no, you're good. I was like, I don't think so.
Super quickly, the T3 and T4 relate to iodine. How many iodine molecules are on the tyrosine? And so that's the T3 or 4. Chlorine and fluorine look like iodine. And so my wife, she was a swimmer in college.
Is that right? Yeah.
Chlorine like crazy.
Yeah.
And her T3 and 4 were normal, but she had Franken hormones.
Ah.
So the T3 and 4 in the lab does not differentiate between is it really iodine or is it some other
Wow. That is
look-alike.
crazy.
It won't operate the same way in your body, but the lab looks normal, so you're fine, Bonnie.
I did. I was a fish and on the swim team.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep, that's a big one. Yeah, so iodine's disrupted, you'll be goofy. Got it. All right, we got to keep rolling here. So let's see
Yeah.
what we do. No, I love the questions. You ready? What do you notice? What do you notice? Just curious. Put you on the spot.
Well, no, like the vibration, like that was on my feet. Like that's what I feel right now. Like, how to explain it? It just feels like I'm still like my feet are just vibrating.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, I feel different.
Are you awake?
Yeah, I'm awake.
You actually
I
look
just,
more alert to me.
Yeah, you do.
What's that?
You look more alert to me.
Oh. Okay.
Cool.
I'm not sure if you feel it, but you
Okay,
look.
no, no, I you know, when I come in, I'm just have a lot of life things, you know what I mean? And to sit here and feel, one, just have the presentation saying that there's not off, there's other women in the same room, in the same situation, that there's, you know what I mean, to know that I'm not alone and that there's something else going on that I don't explain it. Because one of the things that I've, wow, I feel a little late right now. I feel a little light. But one of the things that I've seen on social media made me realize, like, I think I'm in the right place. Like like the detoxing of the body of the metals, and you know, doing the foot spa thing. And I was like, oh, I'll buy one of those. I was like, somebody's got to have it. And then here I come, and I'm like, okay, you know. And you talk about the tooth, and I was like, oh yeah, I already noticed I got some stuff going on with my tooth. But then when you know what I mean, that was another part of my processing. I'm like, I think I need to get some cat, you know, to get that fixed in a different holistic, you know, capacity or something like that. So, yeah, I don't know. It's definitely different.
Cool.
As for ceramic fillings,
That's
that's all I would ever let them put in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ceramic fillings. Then there's
No more metal in your mouth.
No more metal.
Okay.
They are switching away. from
Yeah,
that.
well, I don't want
I
them.
did them as a kid. I mean,
What's how we do with range of motion and all the things? Okay, so let the shoulder relax here.
Just remember the shoulder special.
Went up
Wow,
higher.
that's
crazy.
It's got its own issues. So, yeah.
Range was better.
Yeah.
Wow. Did we do 6 weeks of PT? Did we do? What happened?
I don't know, but I want to try something.
So how long will this last one?
I don't know. How many batteries are drained and how low are they?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we don't know that yet.
Yeah.
But I will say, commonly we're here last at least 2-3 days, or even up to a week or more, just with one
Try
maybe
to get
treatment.
everything done you didn't do before.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Get her done.
So let's check the rest of it here. Keep your arms to the side here. Bring that out. Push out of my hand. That's a lot more sturdy. Let's try the other one here. Bring the wrist back just for me. Good. Pull that back. Yeah, there you go. That's much more solid. Arms straight here this time. Thumb down. Yep. You're gonna hold that up. I'm gonna push down. We're going for 100. Remember?
Yeah.
Let's see what we got. Hold that up for me here. Good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, and we're still going. That's kind of a cool change.
Yeah, because
Oh,
I
yeah.
know what I came in with, and you know, like, because that first round, I was like, ow. And now, I mean, there was like but it was, yeah.
Different. Cool. Let's check the pain here. She was wincing before.
Yeah, that was
I'm pushing
great.
harder, honestly.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah, you said that was a
I
hard
was that
30.
whole week on, but that's better. Not wincing.
Yeah.
I didn't feel good.
There you
Feel
go.
good.
Now, can you feel it? So you
I
do
can
that
feel the
part,
tissue
so
different.
you-
Right? It's like it's just, you know, you feel the.
So like when you get a massage, they know where to get
Oh, yeah,
you.
baby.
So like, yep, live on my massage, and so you could feel that
Yeah,
there
it
was still some there, but it was better.
Yeah. And then the reflex team, remember all that strong here? So we got hypothalamus, and the bridge of the nose again. Pituitary, better. Let's go to the thyroid in the neck. And we didn't get everything, right? Like that, still not all the way there. Let's move that down to the belly. Midsection, yeah, hold that up. So the GI, right, transfer there. That's improved. And then the right side of the rib cage, liver. Right, yeah, there you go. Okay. Yep, hold that up strong here. And so we saw like liver and thyroid reflex has been reset. We made some changes. We got energy boosted back up. Does it make sense? We go, okay, what else do we need to do to improve that energy? And we can get more specific along the way. We can see in real time what our system is trying to do and accomplish. We got range of motion better, we got pain better, we got energy recycling better, like all kinds of cool things changed. Has anybody seen anything like that before?
No, I haven't seen it, but my granddaughter was having light therapy before going away. But that was mostly, that dermatology was doing it, and it was mostly geared to the fact that she can't use sunscreens.
Sure.
And she
So
was going to the
application of
Caribbean,
light
so-
is universal, right? So again, why? It's boosting energy. Where do you need to target, and what kind of light do you need to use to make it do its job? But yeah, the application is all over the place.
Yes, I mean, that was the only experience that I had.
That you
with
got
it,
with light.
and she was really very skeptic, obviously,
Sure.
going to the Caribbean for the
Yeah,
first time
right.
in her life. And she was like, I don't want to have the trip ruined, you know, it was a Christmas gift, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And she did amazing. And
Good.
she didn't, there's one kind of sunscreen that she can use, and it's not like full of chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, she also got the UV clothing that
Right.
that her, you know,
She was smart about it.
Nene bought for her.
Right, yeah. Yeah. But can you see now why we can say we can make 50 to 100% improvement?
Yeah.
You can see why you can imagine getting treatments like that in the comfort of your own home, and you're doing that for 90 days in a row, 120 days in a row. What do you think is going to happen then? Do you see why you start winning with this? Yeah. Let's give Janelle an applause. Thanks for winning. Yeah. So, but like that's the power.
There you go.
I
Thank you.
get it. Yeah, that's the power of what's out there, what's available to you. Okay, so let me just kind of wrap up here. We got two options. Keep doing what you're doing, get the same results, or let's do something different. You saw literally just changed. That's a medical miracle right in front of your eyes. Like, you don't get range of motion change and pain gone, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow. So here's how we do that. Common questions I get are this: how do I know if I qualify? Right? One, if you got diagnosed with thyroid challenges and you want a different option, that's probably number one good idea. We need to do our assessments and figure this out. Or if you're unsure what you're dealing with, we can maybe sort them out as well. But we got to do our assessment and know who we're dealing with, right? How long does it typically take? Assessments usually about an hour. And then in terms of healing time, that can vary depending on how many batteries are drained and how much that can vary from a couple months to a couple years. Like it really can depend on the person and what's going on. Insurance coverage. What do you think?
None.
Yeah, you're right.
Hold on.
Yeah. So that's just the hard reality of our world. Most of the situations are by Medicare, and they say if it's designed to improve your quality of life, it's not medically necessary. Go figure, but that's the Medicare guideline, and then all the other insurance companies follow suit. And Medicare's, let's be honest, they're just trying not to go broke, right? They're not trying to cover those cutting edge stuff. Yeah, I really hope so, Karen, but at the moment,
Yes.
that's what it is. So just being straightforward and honest, it's going to be out of pocket, or a large portion of that's going to be out of pocket. Which then leads to the next one: how much is it to invest in my health and actually be empowered so that you can take care of your own health and not need the doctors? Wow, what would that be worth? We can't charge $100,000 for this stuff. If we're in the medical system, we might be able to get away with that, right? It's just not reality. Here's what I would say. There's such a wide variety of what it could be, commonly. if you're getting support equipment that you need at home, we need to change diet and there's a good bit of things to do. You're going to be in the average of say 500 to 800 a month in that ballpark, depending on credit. And care plans will range anywhere from say 8,000. That's just for owning equipment, right? This is you investing in you and your family, and they can go up from there. Okay, so just to kind of give you a range on averages, and I hesitate to even do that because it might not be that big of a deal, and we don't need to do all the things. But I'm just trying to give you what we commonly see, like as an average. Is that fair? Just trying to just give you as much information as we can. Here's what I will tell you. If funds are a challenge or a concern, don't let that scare you. Our first job is to go, can we even help you and support you? All right, so that's the next simple step is that. So my promise to you is this: if we're unable to specialize in your particular situation and what's going on with you, we're not going to waste your time or money or pretend that we can't. We're going to get you in the hands of other qualified people that can do some good work and support you in the next step. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. Just people treating people with dignity, right? That's what we do. So that's our commitment to you. Here's what it would look like if you choose to move forward. We have a 2-day process. One is simple. We do our consult, go through your detailed history. How did you get like this? What are your goals? What do you want back? What's realistic, right? Then we go through our examination. If you have already had your lab work done, bring that along with you or send that in advance so we have a heads up. We can also talk about what labs might be necessary at that appointment in order or whatever we need to get the answers we need. In office diagnostics, we run, remember number one was stress. We run a stress test. It looks like a pulse ox on your finger. In about 5 minutes, we get a report that says, how stressed out are you? And I want that in the middle. If you're cranked up high, you're in fight flight. If it's way down low, you're in freeze. And we need that to be regulated in the center. Also lets us know about blood flow and stress resistance and a bunch of other cool stuff. We do our physical exam to see what your neurological pattern looks like. Are you in fight, flight, or freeze? And we can see where you're at in that process. We go over all the information that we gather. And we put together a plan to get your goals back. And we do that as a team. So you don't just get one doctor. It's like, no, you get the whole team here. Everybody's working for you and with you to get your goals back. And then on that second visit, you bring whoever helps you make financial and healthcare decisions, because you want as many decisions. You have a brain fog. It's a requirement. Bring somebody with you that can help you ask questions. Because you get way more value when you got another person there. Does that make sense? We want this to be everybody's learning and getting together. And then we go over your treatment plan and financial options at that visit. So pretty straightforward. That's our process with that. And everything together is valued at $875. But here's what I also have learned. People that take action, like Janelle did, they start winning. And we want to encourage you to do that. So if you choose to move forward, we're going to give you some bonuses, which is an energy boost treatment. Whichever one is going to be appropriate for you, we can apply that on the second visit. And the other one I want to give you is 25 anti-inflammatory foods that are going to start helping you to regulate and support your thyroid right now. Okay, so those are our gifts to you for that. Everything together, total value is $945. And because I know insurance isn't going to pick up a dime of this, we're not doing it for $945. Okay, everything we're going to do is for $167 for both visits and the gifts to make sure you guys get answers and we can get a decent plan to help you move forward and get your life back. Okay, is that a little more unfair? Yeah, so the simple next step is like, hey, let's figure this out together. Can we help you and get you going the right track? To take advantage of that, here's what we're going to do. Not go yet. I'm going to tell you to do it. Leslie has appointment times, and Aaron, you want to talk to them. They will help you get first available. If you need to check the scheduling or whatever and call us back, by the end of the week, ideally, we can't hold those spots forever. And just let us know. We're here to support you every which way we possibly can. If you call us end of next month, you're like, hey, I can't promise that, right? But that's what we have going on now, 167. Give us a ring by the end of the week at least, or if you want to get an appointment now and get that on the books, they will collect the 167 for you this evening to get everything ready, and then you're on the way ready to go. Okay? Questions on that process? Did you learn something valuable today?
Yes.
Did you see some cool miracles today, which you know look awesome? Yeah, I did. That's always fun. From the bottom of my heart, thanks for being here. I want to say thanks to the team because they make this all happen. I am so proud of them and I'm so grateful for them. And until next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now you can go.
Can I ask you one question?
Sure.
So
See again?
And the recipes you guys will get emailed to you by the end of the week, okay?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, so there's a lot of variables with that. Yeah, I can't give an answer on that one. Yeah. You're welcome. Yeah. I would say if you have some, bring it with you. We can check this everybody. Yeah, bring along with.
All right, great, thank you.
Yeah, you're certainly welcome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I literally just got these results.
Wow, okay. Wow, that's a little high, isn't it?
Yeah, what is that? Like, means number this.
Yeah. It means with that particular number, it means your brain is screaming at your thyroid gland to do something. It has sent a ton of signals to get it to do something or anything. That's what that number means. So it's a brain problem, not necessarily a thyroid problem. Does that make sense?
Sorry.
Yeah, and we can figure out
It's the
where.
brain driving into a thyroid problem.
Yeah, that's.
The thyroid's still a problem, but it's the brain.
Yeah, cool.
The brain.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys can.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm just amazed at all this, like, we just don't get this information. You
I know.
can't really find it on Google just because like everybody's so surface level.
Mhm. I mean, I can give you less than 80 books to read to learning on.
Yeah, it's like, if you want
This
to.
is really good.
But I can read the books for you so you don't have to read it. That's usually what I do.
Guys, I definitely need to be here. I don't even know how I got the invitation. I just saw on my phone. I was like, oh, it's seminar.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
It's meant to be. There's no accidents here.
I know. This is so cool. I don't know who signed me up for it, but I'm grateful. Thank you.
Welcome.
Appreciate it. It's nice meeting both of you.
Yes, you too.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for being here.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Oh, you're all about your weekend and I have to go. So, what's the book you need for later this week?
I'll be on vacation all week. I got back to like house vacations. I'm still on it.
Yeah.
I'll be on it for 2 weeks until you get back.
Cool.
That's the way I'm trying to look. So
Yeah, perfect.
that way I'll be like, I got stress. Figure it out.
Awesome.
Go ahead.